December 1st, 1948. The sun rises over Somerton Park Beach in South Australia. The tranquil scene is about to be shattered by a discovery that will launch one of the most baffling and enduring mysteries of the 20th century. A puzzle that A local man out for a morning stroll notices a figure slumped against the seawall. He approaches, assuming it's a man sleeping off a long night, but as he gets closer, the stillness of the figure, the unnatural posture, tells him something is terribly wrong. Police arrive to find a man in his 40s, dressed impeccably in a suit and tie. His shoes are polished, his hair is neat. There are no signs of a struggle, no marks on his body. He appears to be a respectable gentleman who simply laid down and died. But the first layer of the mystery quickly peels away. The man has no wallet, no identification, no money. Every single label has been meticulously cut from his clothing. It was a deliberate, systematic erasure of identity. He was, The autopsy only deepened the confusion. The pathologist noted intense congestion in the stomach and liver, consistent with poison, yet extensive toxicological tests found nothing. The man was in peak physical condition, showing no signs of disease. The coroner, unable to name a cause, could only conclude that the death was unnatural. He suspected a poison so sophisticated and fast-acting that it left no trace, a tool more common in the world of espionage than in suburban Adelaide. With no leads, police took the unprecedented step of having a plaster cast made of the man's head and shoulders, hoping someone, somewhere, would recognize him. His fingerprints were sent across the globe. The result was a resounding, deafening silence. No one knew who he was. Who was this man? How did he die? And why did he go to such extraordinary lengths to ensure no one would ever know his name? The answers, investigators hoped, might lie in the possessions he left behind. Months into the investigation, a breakthrough emerged. On January 14, 1949, staff at the Adelaide railway station discovered a brown suitcase that had been checked into the cloakroom the day before the body was found. It had never been claimed. Inside, detectives found a collection of items that only added more questions. There was clothing neatly packed, but just like the suit on his body, every single identifying tag had been painstakingly removed. Whoever this man was, his anonymity. The only name found anywhere was T. Keane on a laundry bag and a tie. Police chased this lead vigorously, searching for any missing person with that name. But it led nowhere. No T. Keane was ever reported missing in any English-speaking country. More curious were the tools found inside. A stenciling brush commonly used by third officers on merchant ships for stenciling cargo. A sharpened table knife modified into a short, sharp instrument. An electrician's screwdriver. These were the tools of a tradesman. Forensic analysis of a coat in the suitcase revealed another clue. The thread used for repairs was a specific type of Barber waxed cotton thread, which was not commercially available in Australia at the time. This suggested the man and his coat had come from over. The suitcase painted a portrait of a man who was methodical, prepared, and desperate to remain a phantom. He had assembled a kit for a purpose, traveled from afar, and then systematically erased every trace of his own past. But the most significant clue. It wasn't in the suitcase, but on the body itself, hidden in plain sight for months. A discovery that would turn the case from a local curiosity into an international obsession with codes, secrets, and lost love. In April 1949, during a re-examination of the man's clothing, pathologist John Cleland felt a small, hard object sewn deep inside a tiny, hidden fob pocket of the man's trousers. It was a pocket that had been missed in all previous searches. He carefully unstitched the seam and pulled out a tightly rolled scrap of paper. On it were two words, printed in an ornate, distinctive font: Tamam Shud. The paper had been torn from the final page of a book. The phrase was Persian, and it was a message. Experts quickly identified the source. Tamam Shud translates to "it is ended" or "finished." It is the final phrase in a collection of poems called the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam. The message was clear and chilling. This man's life was finished, and he knew it was coming. A nationwide police appeal was launched, asking the public to search for a copy of the Rubaiyat with its final page torn out. The clue was so specific, so literary, that it seemed a solution was finally within reach. The book, they believed, held the... Amazingly, a man came forward. He told police that after the man's death, he had found a rare first edition copy of the book, tossed into the back of his car, which he had parked near Somerton Beach. He hadn't thought anything of it until he saw the appeal in the news. Police examined the book. The last page, containing the words Tamam Shud, was indeed missing. The tear marks matched the scrap of paper perfectly, but as they looked closer, they found something else on the inside back cover, something that would cement this case in history. Faintly written in pencil were 5 lines of capital letters, a seemingly random jumble of characters. The second line was struck through. It was a code that top cryptographers from the Australian Department of Defence have been unable to solve to this day. The book contained one final clue. Also written in pencil was a phone number. It was unlisted, belonging to a woman who lived just a short walk from where the body was found. A woman who would become the mystery's most enigmatic and secretive figure. Police traced the phone number to a young nurse named Jessica Thompson, though she was known to friends as Jestin. When detectives arrived at her home and told her why they were there, her reaction was, according to lead detective Jerry Feltus, completely taken aback. Despite her extreme physical reaction, she denied knowing the deceased man. She claimed to have once owned a copy of the Rubaiyat, but had given it to a soldier named Alfred Boxall during World War II. This seemed like a promising lead. Perhaps the Somerton man was... The police quickly located Alfred Boxall, alive and well and still in possession of the book Jestin had given him. Crucially, his copy was intact, with the Tamam Shud page still attached. The dead man was not Boxall. Jestin's story seemed to be a deflection. Detectives brought the plaster cast of the Somerton man's face to show Jestin. When she saw it, her head recoiled, her eyes fixed on the cast, and she seemed to avoid looking at it directly. Yet she continued to insist she had no idea who this man was. The police... Why would she lie? Who was she protecting? For decades, her identity was kept secret at her request, referred to only as Jestin in police files. Her connection to the Somerton man remains the most frustrating piece of the puzzle, a piece that may have died with the unsolvable code, the untraceable poison, the meticulously erased identity, and the secretive woman. All these elements pointed away from a simple suicide and towards a far more dangerous world, the shadowy realm of Cold War espionage. In 1948, the Cold War was escalating. Australia, a key Western ally, was not immune. Just a few hundred kilometers from Adelaide was the Woomera Prohibited Area, a highly sensitive, top-secret Anglo-Australian The spy theory posits that the Somerton man was a Soviet agent, possibly sent to make contact with a source or another agent. The code in the book could have been a one-time pad cipher, a virtually unbreakable encryption method favored by intelligence. In this scenario, Justin was not a jilted lover, but a fellow operative or a contact. Her fear and evasiveness were not born of a past romance, but of the mortal danger she would be in if she revealed anything about their clandestine world. Her silence. This theory explains the untraceable poison, the professional erasure of identity, and the military-grade code. It transforms the Somerton man from a tragic figure into a casualty of a secret war, a ghost whose true allegiance and mission. For over 70 years, this was where the story stalled. The man remained nameless, the code remained broken, and the theories remained speculation. But the dawn of the 21st century brought a new weapon in the fight to solve old mysteries: DNA. A new generation of researchers, led by Professor Derek Abbott of the University of Adelaide, took up the case. Abbott became convinced that modern forensic genealogy could finally give the Somerton man his name back, using strands of hair. After years of campaigning, and against considerable bureaucratic resistance, Abbott and the South Australian police finally received approval. In May of 2021, the body of the Somerton man was carefully exhumed from his grave in Adelaide. The goal was to extract a viable DNA profile from his remains. Working with renowned forensic expert Colleen Fitzpatrick, the team painstakingly analyzed the exhumed hairs. They successfully sequenced his mitochondrial DNA and began building a vast. In July 2022, Derek Abbott announced a stunning breakthrough. He was confident he had found the man's name. Using the DNA and genealogical records, he had identified him as Carl Charles Webb, an electrical engineer and instrument maker. Webb had been married, but his wife had moved to South Australia after their separation. He had a passion for poetry and was known to bet on horses. He was not a foreign spy, but an Australian man with a seemingly ordinary, if troubled, life. Or was it? While the identification is widely accepted by researchers, it has yet to be officially confirmed by police. And even if his name is Carl Webb, it raises more questions than it answers. Why did an electrical engineer erase his identity? Knowing his name does not explain how he died. The cause of death remains as mysterious as ever. Was it an undetectable poison administered by another, or did he take his own life in a way that left no trace? The how is still a complete blank. It does not explain the code. The 5 lines of letters remain gibberish to the world's best cryptanalysts. Was it a complex cipher, a shorthand for horse racing bets, the first letters of a forgotten poem, or simply the meaningless doodles of a disturbed mind? The code. And most importantly, it does not explain Jessica Thompson. Research has suggested she may have had a child with Webb, a son who she never told about his true father. Was Webb traveling to Adelaide to see her? And why did she deny him so vehemently, taking... The story of the Somerton man is a labyrinth. Every answer leads to another corridor of questions. He may now have a name, but he is no less of an enigma. He remains a man who walked out of a troubled life and into a perfect mystery, leaving behind. His final message, Tamam Shud, meant it is ended. But for those fascinated by his case, it was only the beginning. The story of Carl Webb, the man on the beach, is a stark reminder that even in an age of information, some secrets refuse to be told. From the pristine suit to the removed labels, from the untraceable poison to the unbreakable code, every element feels like a chapter in a spy novel. But this was a real life and a real death that remains shrouded in ambiguity. This event, for now,